I'm Linda with American Patchwork and Quilting, and I'm here with Cheryl and Vicki from Handi Quilter, and we're talking about two really almost identical quilt tops that are vintage, but they're quilted in very different ways. So let's give a little background on this quilt.
So when Brenda purchased these two quilts, she got two that are alike, or very, very similar. Color-wise, they're a little different. But as soon as I saw it, I thought it's got to be traditional. And what's more traditional than cross-hatching and feathers?
And you went straight through the design.
I did.
You didn't work around those at all. You just went straight through, and I don't think it detracts at all.
You know, some people are afraid to do that, but it looks great, doesn't it?
And it was a lot faster, too.
I bet. I bet.
It was. The other thing is she just used a layer of wool batting, which makes it really nice and soft.
Beautifully
but
drapeable.
But it gives it dimension. So you see the cross-hatching, you see the feathers.
It really does. It makes a big difference. I think that wool really gives it that puff.
So
then we have the second example, which is not traditional.
Not at all. And we at Handi Quilter, we like to say we quilt by committee. And so we took both of these and definitely decided, let's make one very traditional. And let's then take the next one and just quilt it out of the box. Just do something totally different that you wouldn't never really think about, you know? And so as we did this, we placed some preview paper over the top of the quilt, and we thought, let's make it look different. Let's frame them, but let's frame them maybe with on point. So as we placed the, with the preview paper, drew a box around it, and then drew a box around it. We thought, well, we've got to kind of layer the boxes. So we got them all layered, and then what happened is this little rooster here, he didn't have a box, and there was no room to put a box. So I thought,
no box for the rooster.
This doesn't work. No box for the rooster. It didn't work. So I thought, well, let's turn it and let's frame them the way we usually see a frame.
Sure, more rectangular.
And it felt good to me. Everybody, every one of them got their own individual box, and then I thought, I'll just start drawing. So I drew the boxes, and I used just a water-soluble marker, and you used on yours.
I used an air erase marker.
So you had to be able to quilt yours pretty quickly.
I did.
Because that's going to go away pretty fast. You had a little more time.
I had more time because I knew there was going to be a lot of quilting that I wanted to do in here. So I drew just the basic. I drew the boxes, and then I just took a line and drew through it. It wasn't a 45-degree angle or a 60. I just drew a line through it, and then every 4 inches I drew another line so they were parallel with each other.
Okay.
And then I knew between those lines was going to be a different design.
So that's where you got to play.
That's where I really got to play. But I wanted this design to be, these are floating on top of my lines going through with every one of my different designs. Every line has a different design. That was what was fun.
Well, and it looks so different because once you box that in, it almost makes it look like it's a block. But we know from this example that it's all a one-piece quilt.
That's right. I used a darker thread to frame it and to do the first lines and then to echo. Then I took a little bit lighter thread, but still a little darker than the actual fabric, and did all the quilting, except I wanted this just to be really matted down, so I did a tight stipple in here with thread that, let's find the thread, with thread that actually matched the fabric.
Okay.
So I started with a thread color, this color.
Now when I look at that color, I think, boy, that's awful dark, but you're really not auditioning it as a cone, right?
No.
You're auditioning it
as just a
one
thread,
thread,
and that's what
really,
you're seeing here.
Right, that's what you're going to see, so that's a better way to...
And then a little lighter.
Yep.
To do all of the rest of the quilting. But you know, the funny thing is, I took a lot of different colors, so I'm going to bring a couple of other colors in here. Now this is a gray or a silver, and this kind of has a rose or a pink color to it.
Right.
You know, any one of those, like you said, if we audition that as a strand, any one of those would work.
Right, but when I look at the whole cone, I think, oh, that would be pretty overpowering.
Yeah.
So I always have to remember now, just one strand. That's what you're going to see in the quilting.
So, but I did finally rule those out, and then just went with the darker one to kind of give some different lines, different depth to it, and then just started working up as far as the colors.
And now with a quilt this small, this is a smaller quilt than you would typically have on a long arm. Did you load it on the frame in a special way?
I quilt on a Fusion, which is a 24-inch throat space. And so I thought, I've got a lot of throat space that I can see at one time. So I loaded this, so this was horizontal to the frame, and I had this much throat space so I could see. So as I quilted, I would quilt this, and then I could go through and quilt some more. But I had to advance it, of course.
Sure.
But it was.
But you took advantage of the length of the quilt being across,
Yes.
which helps a little bit too.
Yes, but I still like to quilt closer to me. I get more accurate. I'm not leaning so far into the frame. And it's, but with rulers, I have more space to use. And there's a lot of ruler work in this.
So you've got a lot of rulers in there.
A lot of straight line.
So even though you marked these lines, you still followed with a ruler? The straight lines.
I absolutely followed with a ruler.
Okay, to get that so
And
precise.
with our new Echo feet that we use, I put the 1/2-inch Echo foot on, and then I got accurate 1/2-inch seams.
Oh, that's perfect.
Channels.
Channels. That's wonderful. So even though these two tops are almost identical, they look so different depending on the quilting. Sometimes quilting by committee really helps if you're looking for some new, fresh ideas to quilt that quilt top. So give it a try next time you have a top that you're stumped with.